In today's video, we are reviewing the highly anticipated WWE Elite Series 118 Jacob Fatu figure. I gotta say, as a wrestling and WWE fan, Jacob Fatu has become one of my favorite parts of wrestling television. Every time this man is on the screen, I'm glued to it. Every match this man has, I am glued to it. So getting an official Mattel WWE Elite Jacob Fatu in the line here is incredible. I'm very excited for it. Not excited for it in some other ways, which we'll get into, but I felt like he deserved his own review. So I figured we could do him today, and then we'll get into the rest of the new Bloodline, but we will still compare those new figures to this figure in this same video, so don't worry about those comparisons. We will see the new Solo, the new Tonga, the new Tongaloa, all in this video. But today we are reviewing the WWE Elite 118 Jacob Fatu. Very excited for this figure, if that wasn't already stated, man. Really excited for it. I think we have a decent one on our hands. We'll see how it compares to some of the better figures that we have reviewed just this year for 2025 and all those different things, man. But Jacob Fatu here, you can see I am waiting on new packaging. I don't like this packaging, but you have the first time in the line there. Spin around, got the mean mug Jacob there. Got a nice shot of Jacob right there on the back. Got the debut, I guess, for the show there in 2024, which feels like yesterday. But we do have the full wave here with the Collector's Edition John Cena. Then you do have Jacob Fatu, first time in the line right there, man. But I don't want to waste any more time. However, I will say, if you guys want to grab this figure, you can do so over at Ringside Collectibles using code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%. Always greatly appreciate you using the code. It means the world to me over here. But head over there, grab this figure, pre-order it, back order it. I don't know if they have some in stock. Maybe they have some in stock right now. You can go check that out. But I'm getting the hell out, man. Let's unbox this guy and find out what Jacob Fatu Elite 118 is all about. Alright, man, so here's Elite 118 Jacob Fatu out of the packaging. And, you know, I like some aspects of the figure, and there's a lot of parts of the figure that I'm not a big fan of. And we're going to discuss all of it. We're going to dive into the details of it, break it all down for you, and get into all of the weeds of it and describe all of these things that I like and dislike, and kind of just break it down and bring you through the entire Elite 118 Jacob Fatu experience. But you guys know how we do. We're going to take it through the accessories first, then we're going to get into the figure, and then we're going to get into some comparisons, and then we'll finish it up with some nice photography and dress it up, and I'll give you my full thoughts as we break the rest of it down. Let's get into those accessories. So we're getting into Jacob Fatu's accessories. We do get the Cloth Goods t-shirt, and we do get some interchangeable hands. Now, his t-shirt is cut off, which is nice. This is how he was wearing it. It's kind of his first WWE debut shirt right there, which is not a bad design, you know. I think that the WWE design team, when it comes to merch, is kind of ass. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think they make a very good quality shirt. I think that it's very hit and miss. I think their batting percentage is very low. Sometimes you get some bangers, sometimes you get some good ones, but this is one of those middle-of-the-road solid designs that I do like. It's just, you know, it's not, I don't think it's going to shatter the earth, but it's a quality first shirt, I guess, for Jacob Fatu. But it is Velcro in the back, so you won't have to struggle to stretch it over the torso and try to fit it on there. You know, it's not an Ultimate. If we get an Ultimate Edition Jacob Fatu, which I hope we do see at San Diego Comic-Con, maybe announced to us, we'll probably get a Velcro-less shirt then. And then we do have interchangeable hands. We do start off with a pair of mic-holding hands with the black finger tape over there, which looks pretty good. We do get our very own Jacob Fatu We the One pointer style fingers. And then he does come with the entrance, handshaking, Ricochet Kawhi Leonard new mold that all started with Elite 105 Johnny Gargano. So this is nice to see, but I really wish we had fists, man. I wish we got some fists or some sort of kind of like Ultimate Edition Finn Balor, these kind of hands. I don't know. I feel like they're very expressive, but yeah, this is all you get for accessories. Alright, getting into Jacob Fatu himself, starting out with the head sculpt, and we will take a look at what the shirt looks like as well, but I want to get a look at this new torso and kind of break that down and get into it. But let's get into the head sculpt. I actually like this head sculpt. I think that, you know, you get the kind of crazed eyed Jacob Fatu going on, which I really like. I like it. I think it has a lot of good likeness, and I think it looks good. I think this is a really nice head sculpt a lot. I can't wait for an Ultimate or more head sculpts because I think it's going to fix it up. You do get the shell there, and you do have this nice dry brushing red that goes across the back of the hair. That looks incredible. They did a great job on the paint apps of this figure as well. I really dig the head sculpt here. And another thing that quite impresses me is this torso looks so much better in person, and I don't know if I will say, I think they changed it from the render to in hand because this looks a lot better than what we saw in the render image. It's a lot more broad. Like, look at that chest, man. That looks awesome. Now, I will say, if you look at the torso and how, like, big he is, I love that. But then when you get into the arms, it's like the pecs to the back to the shoulder. I don't like how big of a difference there is there. I think that the shoulders and arms definitely got to be bigger. And look at this right here, man. I have a bummy left loose shoulder. That is so damn frustrating. I hate to see that. And I also noticed that they don't have the bicep bands. I don't know if he debuted with the bicep bands, but they're not featured here, but they are on the back of the packaging. And they did paint on the kind of, you know, the lower bicep bands, I guess you could say. In football, people don't usually wear them up here where John Cena wears his. It's usually right above the elbow right here, which is kind of what he has going on here. But he wears both pairs a lot, but I don't know if that was, you know, based on the debut. But I do like this torso. You have the tattoos featured right there across the upper chest. Nice looking back right there. Has the black wrist tape, and then he does have his tattoo there on the lower right forearm. I dig this torso. I think it's a lot better than I was kind of, you know, anticipating, and I think that the only thing I don't like is how small this shoulder is. And a good example, you guys can see here, this is Jacob Fatu with smaller shoulders and arms. If we bring in a guy like Bray Wyatt, I think he's a good example because he also has kind of this broad chest. Look how we have this kind of bigger shoulder and arm going on that just looks a lot more proportionate, I guess you could say, and it's kind of got that fatter look or that not as lean cut look. And I know he was lean when he debuted or whatever, but his arm is not this skinny. It's not this small, and you could bring in the Ultimate Edition as well. I still think that the Bray Wyatt arms would have been suffice. And I know it's not the biggest deal. It's just something that I think would throw the figure over the top and really make it super impressive. But let's go down here. I think this is the Hulk Hogan crotch, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is the Hulk Hogan Elite crotch here with the wrinkles on there. You get the red band, and then we do have kind of his Sunburst logo right there, which is kind of odd placement for me, how it covers the knee. And usually, though, I feel like this would be moved up some, but it's not the biggest deal ever. But he does have pinless joints, and then he, unfortunately, has those massive clown Cody Rhodes new sculpt boots. You guys know back at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, if you were unaware, they did implement a new foot boot sculpt method here, where they were resculpting all boots. And when they resculpted Cody Rhodes, they gave him these giant clown feet, and they're very, very loose, as you can see here, and they gave those boots to Jacob Fatu. I think that his boots do resemble this, especially then at his debut, but I think they're just obnoxiously massive that it kind of throws me off. But I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far here. All right, now let's break down our articulation for this Jacob Fatu here. If you just stand back and look at him, it's not as bad of a stature as you would think. If I could book it perfectly, right? If I could stand back and say this is what I would improve upon this figure, I think I'd go slightly bigger shoulders, slightly bigger arms. I think the thighs could be a bit bigger, and I wouldn't give him these massive feet, but I don't think it's as bad as we were anticipating. I think it's actually quite okay, and I could see, I want to be in love with this figure and love everything about it, but I think there's just a couple different things that I don't love, but I do like it overall. I think there are some good aspects here, but you get a little bit of pivoting here in the head sculpt, which I do like. I think that that's pretty nice to see. Yeah, I actually dig that. I will like to see I want to see a ball hinge implemented, but we'll take what we can get. Ab crunch is not the greatest. He can go back quite a bit, but the ab crunch forward isn't, the greatest of all time. You do get the waist swivel, the arms go up and down and fully around, and look at this, man, that bummy loose shoulder. I hope yours isn't like that, because that's going to be very trash, but you do get the double jointed arm, which is fantastic, that we saw implemented years ago, which is beautiful, and then he is on ball joints, so you do get a pretty solid kick forward here, about 90. He can kick out to the side for your super kicks and whatnot, which is great. You do get the upper thigh cut. Double jointed knee, which is, it could be better, but it's not super stiff like Muhammad Ali legs, and then you do get the boot cut, the ankles go up and down, and then you get the super duper loose ankle rocker there, which I think is just kind of these boots problem. You could probably find a, kind of a substitute for that, but that is your Jacob Fatu articulation. But now I want to get into some Jacob Fatu figure comparisons. Now for the moment I've been waiting on, man. Is the Elite official WWE Mattel Jacob Fatu better than the MLW? Was it Boss Fight Studios? I don't remember who made that. I think it's MLW Boss Fight Studios figure, I think it is. And you're looking at the same figure. So this is the original figure, how it came. This is the figure fully customized. We took it and we fixed him up completely, put some bicep bands, put him some wrist tape, gave him a custom shirt, changed out his lower legs, painted his hair, did a bunch of stuff here to kind of give him that updated look. And at the end of the day, I do think that this figure is better. I think it gives you better range of motion. It has butterfly joints. There's certain things here that are better than this one. I think overall just representation of his stature I think is better here. But I do like the Elite. I think the Elite is a lot better than I was assuming. But it is cool to see these up next to each other. I think it just kind of depends on what you like. You could argue this head sculpt, so probably got a little bit more likeness, but then again, this one's pretty good too. I don't know, man. I think it's kind of PYP, pick your poison here. But the thing about it, man, is this figure just is fantastic. Like, look at that ab crunch that you get out of this figure here. And not to mention, you do have a butterfly joint here, and this one's just very, very solid. It's not loose or anything like that. And look at this right here. Look how far it can kick up. I mean, this figure is a beast. It really is. I really do enjoy that MLW figure. And I kind of stated, you know, back when we made this fix up, when we reviewed this Jacob Fatu way back in the day, I say way back in the day, it's like a year ago maybe. Back when we, you know, took a look at that figure, I said that this would be better than the Mattel one, and I think it still stands true. But damn, the Mattel one's pretty freaking good, man. It really is. And this one even has thigh cut, double jointed arms and legs, and I put some Sting boots over here, which I think probably are a lot more accurate, and they're not massive clown feet. Like, look at the difference right here. Look at that difference. Now, you could argue, you know, the Sting feet are a little small, but the Cody Rhodes boots are definitely too big, so you probably need to find that happy medium somewhere, and we'll probably put this guy on surgery and see what we can come up with. There are going to be a few things we could probably fix. Now, if I crack this torso and put a different shoulder and arm in there, I may actually be able to fix that loose shoulder joint, but damn, man, I'm enjoying this review. I love this, man. And here's our Elite 118 Jacob Fatu up next to the rest of his Elite 118 brothers with the new Bloodline. We have Tama Tonga, Solo Sikoa, and Tonga Loa, which have their own, you know, things I like about them and things I don't like, which you'll see in the next review that we get into. But I think, I don't know, I mean, I kind of go back and forth seeing this, but would these shoulders and arms that they gave Tongaloa here, would these be better for the Jacob Fatu? A lot of people probably say, oh no, those are too damn big or whatever, but I mean, they put them on Tongaloa, why couldn't they put them on Jacob Fatu? I feel like, you know, I just think that even if they weren't going to go this big, you know, that you're seeing here, this bigger arm mold that they put on LA Knight, that they put on multiple different characters that we've seen over the years, I still think that there needs to be an arm mold in between these. The Bray Wyatt mold is the closest you'll get that represents, you know, a character that is maybe not that lean, but not that jacked, or whatever the case is. So I think that's interesting. But damn Solo Sikoa with the Muhammad Ali legs, I could Muhammad Ali my face off with this damn Muhammad Ali leg mold. But yeah, there's Jacob Fatu up next to the rest of them. I think it's just some formulas here that are just annoying the hell out of me. But that does it for your new Bloodline figure comparisons. And then here's Jacob Fatu up next to the Ultimate Edition Roman Reigns WrestleMania 41 Custom Fix-Up, and then we have the WrestleMania 39 Ultimate Edition Cody Rhodes figure to compare here. And I do believe Cody Rhodes is 6'2", I think Roman Reigns is 6'3", and Jacob Fatu is billed at 6'2", I do believe. So, I don't know, this looks pretty good. I like the way these all look up next to each other, so I guess that's fair, but I don't know, I still think he needs bigger shoulders and arms, man. I think he needs bigger shoulders and arms. I think that the formula could be a bit better, but I don't know. Tell me what you think. But I think that all but wraps up our Elite Series 118 Jacob Fatu figure review, man. I think that there are some good aspects to it. I hate that my damn left shoulder is so damn loose. That's so unfortunate. That's one of my biggest figure pet peeves ever, so I'm not even counting that. I hope that all of them aren't like that, by God. But at the same time, I do like the head sculpt. I like the dry brushing in the hair. Like, the overall head sculpt of the figure is nice. I think that this torso is fine. I think I was more worried about how slim he would look. It's not as bad because they made the upper chest bigger and broader, so that helped the figure a lot, I think. I think where my issues come in the biggest are just the small shoulders and arms. I still just think they're too skinny and small, and I guess my best comparison is, do you think at debut, even if you think that Jacob was lean at this time, the torso's not even really what I don't like. I think it's more of the arms to the girth of the torso itself, because the torso reminds me a lot of like a Bray Wyatt, and then you look at those shoulders and arms, and they're proportionate, right? And they make a lot of sense. Same thing here with the Jacob Fatu. If you turn the figure to the side especially, you can see how big the torso is in comparison to the shoulder and the bicep. And then you just compare those arms to Seth Rollins in real life, or Finn Balor especially, or Montez Ford, or whoever. Which, not saying those guys' arms are small. I'm just saying that I'm sure Jacob's arms are bigger, or that they were not leaned out like that, if that makes sense. And I think that that would help the figure a ton to have bigger shoulders and arms. And then another thing I don't really care for, the legs aren't the greatest, but I think they're fair. I don't think they're like the greatest of all time, but the boots, boots, those Cody Rhodes boots, I can't stand the looseness in the feet, and then just how big the feet are and the boots are because of that new foot sculpt that we've seen. You know, they kind of look like clown feet. I've talked about it with the Cody Rhodes figure. And I don't know, I don't hate this figure. I don't think it's perfect, but I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I still think it's worth the pickup to fill in that Jacob Fatu because I do like the updated look of him over the MLW in terms of the look and aesthetic of the figure. Now, if you fix that damn Jacob Fatu up, it can be really, really nice. I'll say this, I think the MLW figure is a better quality action figure. I think the proportions are better. I think I like the overall stance of it better. You get a great range of motion with it and stuff like that. But I think the Mattel figure is fair. I think it's still pretty fair. And I do like the Jacob Fatu. I'm just not in love with it because of these different aspects of it. But damn, I think if you fix this guy up, it could be really, really strong. I think it's a couple things here and there away from being absolutely perfect. But unfortunately, that's not what we have in our hands, right? But I do like the figure. I do like the figure. I think it's fun. I had fun shooting it and stuff like that. I just think that it really it's kind of one of those reviews where there were a couple things preventing it from being really, really damn good, and I think that's kind of what makes me shake my head at it. But it's not as bad as I was thinking coming in initially. I actually really like the torso in person. I think it's just the proportions that are really throwing me off, and I wish we could get bigger shoulders and arms on this guy. But at the end of the day, man, if you want to grab this Jacob Fatu, you can do so. Go over to Ringside Collectibles, use promo code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%. But the more I've posed it around, the more that I have, you know, handled the figure, I do like it. I just hate that bummy, loose shoulder. I think that is crazy, but I like this figure, man. I do like it. It's a fun one, and I'm glad to have a Jacob Fatu officially from Mattel, and I look forward to more versions of him. Ultimate Edition, more Elites. I love Jacob Fatu. I like this. I like this figure, but huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. I appreciate all you fellas so very much. I appreciate all of your support as always. You guys are unbelievable, and I just thank you so very much for everything, man. But I'm getting the hell out. I'll see you guys next time. Leave me your thoughts on this Jacob Fatu down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.